perceived value is up here. Cost efficiencies here. So this is value, perceived value, and this is cost efficiency. They are different ends of the spectrum. Ultimately, they're completely different strategies. Now, when it comes to medical and dental care, people have not built it out a high perceived value to scale. Okay? So people say you can't do it, right? You can't grow big enough if you have corporate insurance and you have all these other things, you can't do it. Well, that's not true. How about the Ritz Carlton? How about Chick-fil-A? So I showed you this picture, Mike. Who is it that laughed about my kids? Was it you, Matthew? They're a little bit bigger now, okay? But this is the Ritz Carlton Lake Oconee. Has anyone ever been to Ritz Carlton Lake Oconee? It's like a lodge. It's not like a typical hotel. Go there sometime. It's absolutely amazing. It's like a lodge, and so it's on this lake. And it's like rolling lake down to the water, and they have fireworks there, and they got a big pool, and it's just like, it's the craziest, coolest experience you've ever been to. So in Memorial Day, the who's who of Atlanta goes to the Ritz Carlton Lake Oconee. All like the CEO of Coke and Home Depot and everybody will be there. They said, you've got to go for Thanksgiving. So I went for Thanksgiving, and through that door is Santa. So we were getting ready to go see Santa, and I was so excited about this. It was really hard to get into this event, and I want you to count the greeters there. So believe it or not, there's one person there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm a business geek, so I asked them all to take a picture with me for that one reason. Why would you have 5 people to greet somebody? You only need one. All you do is walk up and go. I mean, this is what typical experience, right? Name, Eric Morin. I got a reservation at 10:30. If you'll come with me. Right? We've all had that one, right? That's the typical experience, right? And I would have been okay. But what ended up happening was these people came out and they started greeting us, and this, do you see this, like this, see that right there? Like, you see that? Like, that's cool, right? And my daughter was like smiling. She's like, oh my God, Santa and the elves. And the elves come to the room at night and they read to the kids. And as creepy as that sounds, it's really cool. And they come into the room and they open up the books and they read bedtime stories to the kids. And so, how much do you think I would pay for that smile? A lot. That weekend is very, 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 very expensive. It's 4 walls, 2 lamps, and a bed. I'm telling you that you can scale quality. You can scale perceived value. You can do it. It's just more difficult to do. It's easier to scale cost efficiency. It's easy to scale straddling. Straddling is when you haven't picked one, when you're in the middle here, and we're not really high perceived value, we're not really cost efficient, we're somewhere in the middle. And in business, there's a saying that there is a price to be paid for straddling. So you're trying to match both companies. And I went behind the scenes here, I was working out one time, and I saw their big board, and it was about how they train. And the Ritz Carlton is a training organization. They put tons of money into training. They literally, I was at a hotel last week on a resort, and I was looking at the bathroom, and I was looking up at the molding, and there was a crack in the molding. And by the way, I was in a very nice room. This wasn't their standard room. And there was like a crack in the molding, and I just thought to myself, that would never happen in a Ritz Carlton. It would never happen because they have something called line of sight training. So their team is literally, they have lines of sight, and if they see anything in the line of sight, they have actually the authority to fix it. And so the team makes sure everything is fixed. Every crack, every crevice, every bed, everything's perfect all the time. They spend tons of money, and they can do it at scale. Now in Buckhead, they had a Ritz Carlton, and Ritz Carlton decided to take their name off of it for some different reasons. And now they redid the whole hotel. It's called the Whitley. And so they made it beautiful inside. It is it's a gorgeous hotel. But it's a Marriott luxury property and not a Ritz Carlton. And I will tell you, as someone who's done events at both of them at that hotel, it's a completely different experience. Not just from the customer's experience, but from the people who actually pay their bills. Do you know who pays the bills? People like me that have events. These companies don't exist from the hotel rooms. That's not how they make their money. They make their money from events. And so what happens is when you walk into a Ritz Carlton to do an event, I'm just telling you, there is a team of people that come out. And there's like a buffet manager, there's a table manager, there's a tablecloth manager, there's a chair manager. And they're literally around you all the time, grabbing stuff, rolling stuff. What else do you need? What else do you need? What else do you need? And if you go to a different property and you walk in, you're like, hey, could we get some coffee in the room? I mean, it's a completely different experience from everyone's perspective. I tell you this because scale, even Marriott hasn't figured out how to do it right. They try to duplicate Ritz Carlton by having the luxury brand, but they weren't able to do it. It's actually the management of Ritz Carlton and the way that Ritz Carlton built. Remember I said there's operational efficiencies? Marriott is taking its operational efficiencies, and what they can't do is duplicate what the Ritz Carlton did. They would have to change all of Marriott to match the Ritz Carlton, which is why Marriott luxury properties will never be a Ritz Carlton, because they're different operational efficiencies. They're different business models. And so while they can push for a little bit better experience, it isn't that much better of an experience, but you pay more, where Ritz Carlton is completely different. You can do this on the medical side too. You can actually do this, but it takes intentionality. It also takes all those operational efficiencies. It also takes charging the right amount. So if you were to do all that, you'd have to charge the right amount too. So experience is really important. Someone told me one time, they're like, we love you, Eric, because you don't tell us what everyone else tells you. Because I told this guy, I was like, maybe you don't want a great experience. Maybe you want a good experience. And he laughed because he was like, no one's ever told us that. I was like, your model, maybe you don't want a great experience. Great experience costs you a lot of money. Maybe you don't need a great experience. Maybe you just need a good one. What's a good experience? Because we're going to put our money somewhere else. And he was like, oh my God, everyone's just told us we have to wow everybody. I'm like, no, you don't got to wow everybody. Not based on your business model. And so everyone's business model is different. Maybe you don't need to wow everybody. If you're not going after perceived value, if you're going after cost efficiency, maybe it's not wowing everybody. Maybe you're wasting your time trying to wow everybody. Maybe what you need to do is take care of everybody. Don't treat people poorly, but give them an adequate experience to where they feel good about what they're getting for the money. Does that make sense? And so what ends up happening is there's complexity of business models. So we have to look at that based on what you're trying to do. So when we go to create your strategy, we have to look at three main areas. One, do we want to focus on increased fees, increased numbers of patients, or increased frequency? Which one of those are going to be our main focus? Because as you build your strategy, you're going to build your strategy around one of those. This is a good time for a break. See you guys back in about 15.